Hey guys, long time no see. I haven't recorded a video in quite a long time. I've been fairly busy with different projects, but yeah, I mean, I saw the Character Creator 3 contest was out, so I thought I'd create a character for it and probably do a video on how I made it. If it was good enough, I've seen a lot of you have liked the character already. I liked how it looks. Some of you have said you want to see the process of how I made it, but as I didn't do a time lapse, all I can really do is go through and run down what I did exactly. So I have the katana / sword, which has an emissive on it. So this little red bit here is actually it glows. The hilt of the katana has nails in it, has a synthetic fabric material. Then the sword itself has the black metal top bit right here. Then a red metal bit going along the bottom, which will be where you hack and slash someone. Sword itself has these little holes. So that's the sword. What is it? Jacket. Actually, can show you in Substance Painter about the jacket. So what I've done here, right? So when I brought it in, I baked it down. It has its its textures here, all the high detail baked down to low detail. So once I did that, I added a jacket material to it, so like a leather jacket. It's got all these sort of variety and detail to the jacket. This looked a little bit weird. I think it was because one of the that bit's a different texture to this bit, so it's got different areas in which textures are different for variety. I've got a black material right here, another black material right here. So yeah, there's variety in the leather. Then I got an emissive right here. I noticed that when I made it in Marvelous Designer. So when I go to Marvelous Designer, I have the jacket properly made right there with nice UVs, like straight UVs as well. You can then go into retopology tools. So yeah, the edge flow here matches like everything. So all the points do match up. There's an even amount of points, so whenever there is like a gap here, I can stitch it together and there isn't a gap. So yeah, you got the retopology tool inside of Marvelous Designer, which is really helpful. It just helped me design all my clothes pretty well and pretty easily. Once I made it in Marvelous Designer, I just brought it straight into ZBrush. Stitched all the parts together, then I just baked the high onto the low detail. I made myself a top, a jacket, so if I minimize the jacket, just the top's quite simple because you're not really going to see it, but it has some folds where they should be. The trousers, they're brought in pretty well. All the clothing, its UVs are done and brought straight back into ZBrush. As you can see there, the UVs are going to be straight, so when you do texture it, it's going to be nice. It's going to be easy to texture because of that nice workflow from Marvelous Designer to ZBrush. And yeah, because I added that retopology tool, it means I don't have to go straight into Maya from Marvelous Designer and do one of the things I did before. In one of the videos I did, I think earlier on this year, where I got the mesh from Marvelous Designer, got it into Maya, got the UVs right and all that. This time I just went straight from Marvelous Designer to ZBrush and it worked seamlessly. So let's go. You also go different poly groups as well. So yeah, it was nice. It was a nice workflow. then getting that jacket in, it just, added onto the character's, apparel, and yeah. So I did jeans, belt, top, jacket, hair. So after I did the emissive, I just did a quick texture onto, because I didn't like how it really looked there. So I just added a, fill texture. What was it like? If it loads up. Yeah, I just added a height map, like an anisotropic noise. Filled it. So I selected poly groups I wanted to, or the UV islands I wanted to use for it. Filled it up, so then it kind of just added to the look of it, which I was happy with. It made it look pretty cool. And then I had the stitches. So, the stitches just went all over the jacket. I liked how it looked. So in all these little areas which I had gaps or the UVs crossed, I would just do a stitch big enough so it looked very, in a way, stylized, but not. It kind of looked like a cyberpunk, biker-ish look. So, I did the jacket, I did the trousers, if it will load up nicely. Trouser-wise, trousers were quite fun to detail. Did the stitching thing again, but then on the belt I just added more stitches going along, and because the belt had similar UVs going around, all I really had to do was do some stitches along here, and then it just repeated the whole way around. So texturing the belt was pretty easy. Just added a metal, plastic, a leather. Then here I just added certain texture. Again, I added a height map and scaled it, so this added a little bit of bump. Got a leather texture down the middle, synthetic around the sides. Stitching down these little, basically where you have stitching on trousers. Nothing really new there, nothing really that interesting there, to be honest. Just same thing really, adding a material, adding some dirt or dust to it, making sure it's PBR. Making a bit of variety in the textures, not making everything the same. So that was the trousers, and then the top, showing my top. Top was very similar to the trousers. I wanted the texture to be fairly similar, but so just did a black top, stitching up here, different stitches there to add a bit of variety, stitching down the sides, and a pattern going around it as if it was some futuristic pattern. So that was, Substance Painter workflow. You can see my ZBrush. All I did was, bake high poly to low poly from Marvelous Designer. Did the did the retopology in Marvelous Designer, brought it into ZBrush. With those two tools, so Marvelous Designer and ZBrush, you don't really need Maya. Because you got your UV sorted out. You can make your materials in. You can make your materials in ZBrush. Just export. You can then bake export low and high from ZBrush to Substance to bake it all. So in theory, you don't really need Maya or Blender or anything like that to sort out UV groups and materials or retopologize. Because if you've done it in Marvelous Designer, there you go. It's fine. I did the clothing there. That was fine. Not really much to say about it. I could have added stitching in the high poly, But there was some stitching tools I've got in Substance Painter which I can't bring into ZBrush, so I would rather just done it in Substance Painter. So yeah, that's the ZBrush workflow. Bringing it into Character Creator 3, I just brought it in the same pose I worked the character on. If you geodes edit from ZBrush, you can apply it as a cloth, and then it will just skin the weights properly like it should. So yeah, you got jacket, shoes. Shoes are pretty cool. I just sort of detailed them with a fabric, added the same sort of height displacement map in this bit here. Added some added material which added some dirt onto the shoes to add a bit of like wear to it. This little bit here is a UV island, so I just I masked it out, and when I masked it out, it meant when I added this little texture here, it didn't apply the texture to any other part of the shoe. So the shoes are pretty cool. These are emissive pink, which I like that. Brought the trousers in. Trousers look pretty cool. What else? Top. Yes, got the top. Brought the top in. It all looked pretty decent. And my belt. I made the belt and the trousers separate OBJs or separate tools, because when I gauzed it just imported them both as separate tools. But when you skin it, it's going to skin properly with the trousers, so none of it should really go through the other. So I showed you the sword, jacket, shoes, hair. Yeah, the hair was very, very fun to do. When I did the hair, I created a hair cap. Created a hair cap, brought it into Maya. So that's when I got into Maya. My workflow in Maya was primarily Ornatrix, Ornatrix, and I wanted to see a bit of V-Ray in it, so I put just rendered a little bit in V-Ray to see how it looked in theory. So Ornatrix was great. When I had that hair cap, I didn't want the hair to go over this way because I had added the shaved hair texture from SkinGen using Character Creator. So what I did, I knew sort of where it would be, so I deleted faces where I wanted the passing to be, or no hair to be. So I got rid of the hair cap faces where I didn't want hair to show. Then when I did that, all I did was add hair to selection on the hair cap. That will create some things, but I deleted most of the modifiers, so it was just guides from mesh. When you have guides from mesh, it'll turn out like this. You'll just have a bunch of hairs going up. Then if you look at V-Ray, the hair's like all over the place. So then when I did that, I did surface comb length to decrease the length of it. Surface comb so I could comb the hair. Detail so I could change the poly count of the hair and I could smooth it. Edit guides was, the width of the hair and all that. Clumping so I could clump a little bit of the hair so it wasn't, it looked pretty cool when it was clumped. Mesh from guides, that just created sort of a thing where I could preview it in V-Ray, which was nice. Change width, yeah, change width when I'm looking at, when I'm gonna, when I click, what is it? Add mesh from strands, changing the width will make it like hair cards. Whereas I'm just doing hair from guides, changing the width to a lower or thinner, render out in V-Ray and it looks like hair. So it actually looks thin, it looks like it should be. This one really thin. Do V-Ray and yeah, you get a really thin hairdo. Oh, that is really thin. So you do that, you preview it, then when you finish it off, you can then go add mesh from strands. Then you can choose the UVs for it, export it out. If I go UV, did it before in the project, but yeah, so that was creating UVs, sorting the hair out in Ornatrix, then exporting out of Ornatrix to Character Creator 3. It was like this. So when I looked at the UVs, I had the hair, I chose a texture for it, but I saw there was only like 3 of those hair textures in this little opacity channel which I actually wanted. There's a thin one, a sort of thick-ish one, and a thick thin one. Should be the 3 on the right of this opacity map that you can see. I just created 3 different, I selected the hair cards I wanted, moved those groups to, just copied the UVs so that a bunch of the hairs were the same and it all matched up. Yeah, and it's a bit confusing the way I'm explaining it, but there's basically 3 hair textures on that hair. Thin, thick, and a medium. So yeah, when I did that, I also did the weight maps. So I've got weight map. You can see the weights are like white, and so the base of the hair cards are around here. So that's where the end is going to be. And then this is where it meets the scalp. What I wanted when the character's hair was animated was the bottom of the hair to be flowy and it to move properly. And then towards the top, it just doesn't move. So in Photoshop, I got a gradient, made sure this bit was black and this bit was grey. Made sure the gradient melted to about the middle. And yeah, created a gradient map which acts as a weight map. I did that, I brought it into ZBrush. Not ZBrush, I brought it into Character Creator 3, applied the weight map. So now if I put it in iClone, which is when I rendered it for the turntable, the hair's going to move. So the hair's going to animate, it's going to flow properly, and it won't look all static. Also did the same for the jacket, but the jacket was done in Substance Painter. So with this, to create a weight map in your jacket, so whoever stayed until this part of the video is probably going to learn how to make weight maps in Substance Painter. You add a filler. You make this black. So you're going to make sure all the parts that you don't want animated are black. You then do another fill layer, black mask it. You make this like white or grey depending on how wavy you want it to be, basically. Then you paint the areas. I would suggest just painting this little bottom area. Just paint that little bottom area. Create a folder, black mask, so that when you blur it, you're not going to get this little weight map going to the parts you don't want it to go. Color selection, go onto the UV map you want it to be in. All I want it to be in is these little bits here. So this map here will only be applied to this area, but if you paint on this bit, it's only going to be here, basically. You go on that, you add a filter and blur. As you blur it, you're going to find that the blur like slowly goes up the jacket. Here's an example of where masking it doesn't affect the areas that you don't want it to be in. See, that was completely black, now it's not. So once I've blurred that, what I can do is, we also need to do that one. Yeah, so now you blurred it, this little bit's going to animate and move a little bit slower. A little bit less than down here. But yeah, that is pretty much how you create a weight map in Substance Painter. All you do is, you can do it white and you can see how it blurs out. So this will animate a lot and this won't animate as much or move as much. So yeah, that's pretty much how you would create a weight map in Substance Painter. You can then export textures and then export the color map. When you export the color map, it will look something like this. You then bring that into Character Creator 3 and apply it as a weight map. And then when you bring it to iClone, it'll work. It'll simulate properly. So yeah, I think last part of the whole process I should probably go through is the texturing side. So texturing wise, I do have the whole SkinGen plugin, so SkinGen Premium, SkinGen Plus, whatever it is. If you go and activate Editor, with this skin, it's a custom-made skin that I had a while ago. I made it and brought it into Character Creator 3 for the characters. But it had no eyebrows, which is great for this because you can just apply any eyebrows you want. So, in Substance Paint, Character Creator 3, when you use SkinGen, it's going to disable all your clothes. And if this is your active editor, it's just going to do the skin instead of the makeup. It's going to disable your makeup, and this is all you'll see. So I've got quite a lot of layers. I've got a secondary, tertiary, micro. These are all the skin pores. You can then, with this, you can mess around the opacity and you'll see, skin pores show up more. Can you also change the normal value? Yeah, normal strength. You could then change the normal value. Capillary cheek, I had some capillaries in the cheeks, not very noticeable, but they're there. A little bit of grey. Hemoglobin, freckles. I thought freckles looked kind of cute on her, so I added freckles. Ear details. I haven't really messed around with much ear details, but I added it just to add a bit of skin detail onto it. Eyelid details, so let's do, added some eyelid details. Nose pores, more freckles. Lip wrinkle, and then scalp bases. So they're pretty much all the stuff I used to make the skin. Then go on makeup. Makeup's where you really, bring the character to life a little bit. Male-wise, you wouldn't really add makeup to a male character. Unless it was for a specific reason. Here I got my contour, you got highlight, eyeshadow. I kind of want it all to be like blue and pink. That was the main aesthetic and main colour of the character's skin and makeup and hair and all that. You got fake creases, eyebrows. So that's where having no eyebrows on my custom skin really helped. So adding that eyebrow, I could just choose whatever I wanted. Then the decal. Decal, I think I used the mechanic decal from SkinGen. Then there was a second thing for it which allowed me to change the colour. Yeah, you can change the contrast. I think that's for the dark areas. So you go on decal base. Yeah, I mean there's a bunch of stuff you can mess around with. There was a way I changed this pink thing. It's kind of just I just messed around with it and found it for some reason. Oh, there we go. Found it somehow. So I just turned saturation all the way up, because then you can choose whatever colour you want just by messing around the hue. So what I did is, I could have had blue, could have had green, whatever. But I was like, pink would work. So yeah, I did pink. Lips, I had a lipstick and an eyeliner. I did eyeliner. So yeah, I mean that was it really for the character process. I might go through some Ornatrix videos because I found that was fun to use. If there's anything out of this tutorial which you guys want to learn or you want me to teach you, let me know. But yeah, I went through the process of how I did it. Like half an hour video while recording. If you want to find out more, if you want to figure out how I made something or how I textured something, let me know and I might make a video on it. If you want me to do a Marvelous Designer video and show you how I did the clothes and retopology and stuff like that, let me know and I'll show you. Other than that, there's not much else to add. You can see my entire work process on my ArtStation, which I'll link below. Also link my full rendered video, character out. So I've got all the 4K renders. That'll be in ArtStation pictures, so I'll show you that as well. Yeah, so if you guys liked the video, if you liked how the character looks, please, leave a like and subscribe, because I'm going back onto the channel, hopefully to record more videos and release content more often. Knowing that I'm coming up to 1,000 subs is great. Absolutely amazing. Did not think I'd get to 1,000 subs within 10, 11 months. But yeah, it's been great. But I should be recording more videos, should get more content out. Yeah, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for joining.